Boat mess, November baits. This is a bunch of stuff that I tried. Nichols, weedless Willie. Tried a whole bunch of baits during November. Excuse me, there's a transition period, a lot of swim baits. We did use a lot of Kitech swim baits, and we brought out the A-rig a little bit, but the jig in November was really good too. Here's a Dirty's jigs, finesse jig, even with a bigger chunk type trailer. But as we got into November, the jigs really played a big part. White jigs, finesse jigs with a beaver type trailer. This little finesse jig here is a Kurt Walker jig, but really got into the buzz baits as the water temperature finally got into the 50s, and buzzbait played a big part. We used a head knocker and we used the Nichols buzzbait quite a bit. I didn't experiment a whole lot. I wasn't able to get out there, but when that wasn't working, of course, you always got to break out the Dirks jigs. I've got some of his football jigs and, of course, his half-ounce roundhead finesse jig. The jerk bait is starting to play as we move into December here. One of these bigger old jerk baits here that I scraped all the paint off of. Just an old rogue, but that's a big super rogue that can catch some monster. This is one that I got at the Lake of the Ozarks Fishing Expo. It's a custom pour swim bait. It's awesome. The Blue Rock, the tubes have been really working well. You can rig it up like a stupid tube. Of course, the Bojangles Z Daddy. This is probably one of the best trailers that I've got right now. You can also Texas rig it. We're at it on the Dirty's jigs, finesse jig like this one here. That's just a little bit more of a skirt. And then, of course, the black neon tube when you get into dirty water. I'm going to try to show you how I rig that sometime. Strike King tubes, of course, just a key player. Here's another black neon. It's one of the best ones that I use that are up the river or in the glaze if the water gets a little bit dirty. Here's a Lake Fork tackle ring fry. I Carolina rig that when it gets real tough. You can split shot it around. Here's my blue chunk trailers that I use with Andy's jig, the jig. This has been killer combo all year long, but I'm continue to throw it. I'll probably throw it all year long. Here's the old Crocagator. This is the 3/4 ounce head knocker. It's one of the best, as we all know here, one of the best buzz baits. The A-rigs, of course, I've got a big mess here, but this is the old Booger Man. They make the Booger Man still, and it's not hard to find. I can't remember where I got these, but you can see that I've knocked all the paint off the head of that one. I've just got a horny toad on the back of it as we untangle the mess of all the stuff that I've tried. This is a Pompadour Junior. It's made by Jackal. It's a lot like a jitterbug, but super cool, fun bait. They do bite that really good, especially on a really cloudy day. These A-rigs, I've got a good box that these go in, but I kind of threw these into the boat just to try them out. And to be honest, I don't think I even tried them because the topwater and other stuff's working right now, and these have been hanging in the garage. Of course, I wouldn't be throwing those during a tournament, but threw them in there. I'm going to keep them in the boat just to kind of pre-fish with for the winter time, but really haven't had the A-rig play too much yet. More stuff like this, like square bills and crankbaits, have really came into play here the last couple weeks. But while those are working, I'm just going to keep these little heads I get down at Table Rock at Extreme Outdoors. They're super cheap. Put them on these Kitechs, or put the Kitechs on the jig head, of course, and then I use the Deaver head from Tombstone, or you can get them just about anywhere, but the Deaver head's got that good lockdown on it. Crappie time right now. So those are my screw lock heads, the Blankenship head. I forget what they call them. Here's another buzzbait I've been playing with. This is a Nichols buzzbait. I think it's the Reflex. That's a great buzzbait, but it needs a little modification. Of course, the ploppers and the whopper ploppers and choppos have been working awesome, awesome, awesome. That's been probably the number one bait here in the last month for everyone. But I think that's going to start dwindling down. So get this jerk bait out. You can see the old Rogue. The old Rogue has been already catching some fish, and of course we're really getting into jerkbait season now. So the Rogues are going to kind of go away, and the Mega Bass is going to come out. I like the Mega Bass in the colder water when the water gets in its 40s. Spinnerbait's been awesome the last month, all the way from the end of October through November. Spinnerbaits have been working great. Now you can't just kind of got to get lucky to catch a big limit on them, but like this one right here, I got third in the Red Fox tournament with, and I got big bass, which isn't too much to brag about or anything, but I did catch them all on a spinnerbait. Should have won that tournament, but just didn't get enough big bites. But all in all, it's been kind of tough this fall for me and a lot of people, but you can run into a big one every now and then. They're just not very consistent. Here's some more A-rigs I'm getting ready for this winter. So I'm kind of getting all the stuff out that won't be working this winter and trying to get everything organized and getting ready for the winter when it gets consistently in the 40s. Here's a glide bait from, I don't know if it's Big Baits or can't remember who makes this one, but it's a good, really good glide bait. It draws fish very well, and I've actually caught more on that bait this fall than I did the KGB or the Chad Shad. So if you can find that one, I got that glide bait last year at the Lake of the Ozarks Fishing Expo. Of course, the old 7-inch Berkeley Power Worm, can't beat it. Between that, a brush hog, some of the Bojangles worms that he's making. The Deep Little Inn has been a really good crankbait here the last couple of days. As the water temp gets cooler and cooler, those wiggle work type crankbaits are going to be working. But that Deep Little Inn is a big player right now. The white jig has really been good all through the fall, but this little, got an Odom jig here, but if you can get any type of good swim jig, I like one with a good hook on it, but that chunk is a really good trailer to use after they quit hitting those double-tailed grubs, but can't really go wrong with either one. Like I said before, the Chapo. So this is my Chapo box. The 120 is probably my favorite size. The 105 works too, but black, the Maverick with the chrome, and bone. I mean, they can't go wrong with the bone 120. I think the black one is probably my favorite, but they were probably, you could see those were still in the box. The black ones are probably either broken or I need to replace some of the 120s because those Chapos will break. Sorry for the crazy video, guys. I'll get better.